We are back, and this is going to be one of my two uploads today. As Ohio State's going to play Notre Dame later, and I'll hopefully have a reaction slash recap of what happens in that game shortly after it happens. However, this one's going to be talking about the Blue Jackets center position, as it is September. The preseason for hockey is going to start heating up, and it's time to start looking at this Blue Jackets roster and seeing what we could maybe predict for this season. One of the questions for the Blue Jackets roster this year is the same that it's been for last year and the year before. What is the center position going to look like? And once again, the answer is just kind of we don't really know. Again, consistent with how it's been for multiple years now. Last season, the opening night first line center was Alexander Texier. That did not last very long. Boone Jenner slid in, and honestly, while everyone thought that it might be another disaster and he got too many minutes, it was good for Boone Jenner. He did very well. I think he was on pace to score either 30 or get very close to 30 goals before his injury late last season taking him out. And then Jack Roslovic took over some of the top line duties once Boone Jenner was hurt. But 2C kind of down, it was kind of a rotating door. He had Jack Roslovic and Cole Sillinger playing that second line center. Third line center, Cole Sillinger was there also. Sean Corrali would hop up at third center every now and then. And then the fourth line center, Sean Corrali got time there, obviously. And then just newcomer Justin Danforth also spent some time at fourth line center as well. So last year, again, the center depth wasn't great. However, Boone Jenner being a reliable top line center was a nice surprise. And Cole Sillinger playing as solid as he did for an 18-year-old was nice as well. So it wasn't all doom and gloom. And plus, Jack Roslovic had stretches of really hot play and also stretches of really not great play. He was that there was a reason he wasn't given the reins as the first line center immediately from the get-go, and that was because early in the year he struggled. But ups and downs, a lot of just kind of uncertainty in the center position last year, and that's continuing on to this year. However, there is a bit more sense of optimism. My best case scenario, if everything goes correct, I would like to see Jack Roslovic finally put together that magical offseason. That two-way game finally goes his way, and the coaching staff sees it, and he puts the work in, and he gets better at face-offs. I'd like to see Jack Roslovic at the 1C, Cole Sillinger sliding into that second center role. In third center, here's my thing. I think Boone Jenner would fit at the third line center very nicely, but I think if you're going to try Kent Johnson at center, that's probably where he would go on the third line there. And then at the fourth line center would be Sean Corrali or Justin Danforth, whoever, based on who they're playing an injury. And if Justin Danforth really ends up surprising at that position, maybe Sean Corrali has to move out to the wing or something. I don't know. But I think they have two good options as their fourth line center, which I guess is nice. I mentioned Kent Johnson. I think there's a little bit of a conundrum with him with the organization. I think if this organization and the player truly does see Kent Johnson's long-term future as being a center with the Blue Jackets, then maybe the best thing to do for him as a center would be to send him to Cleveland to the AHL, play top-line center there, obviously, get as many big minutes as possible, get some experience playing center at big-time minutes, because he didn't do that at Michigan. He didn't do that at the World Juniors this year. He was on the left wing, and I think that's the alternative. If you're not going to send him to the Cleveland Monsters to get some top-line minutes. And I mean, I said that maybe an ideal position would be at the third line center, but I don't know if that would do much for his development, both as a player in general and as a center. I don't know if that would help. Maybe you just scrap the idea of him being a center in your organization and just say, you know what, he's excelled the best at left wing. Having a really great creative playmaker at left wing isn't bad either. People see center and they get all excited, and that's what they want to see out of Kent Johnson, because having a center with the skill set that Kent Johnson has is exciting, and with the wing it's like, oh man, but if only he was a center. But if it's not going to work out, if he's not going to reach his full potential as a center, and they're not going to be willing to maybe send him to the AHL for as long as he'll need to be, because he could be contributing to the club now in certain other ways, then maybe you just kind of forget the whole Kent Johnson being a center with this organization and just kind of move on with him and his development as a winger. Although that is what I just laid out was a very rosy estimation of what might happen with a center at this point. Again, that does rely on Jack Roslovic putting everything together. That relies on Cole Sillinger having a a monumentous like that relies on Cole Sillinger having that exponential growth that relies on. I mean, I'm not gonna assume injury or anything, but that relies that Boone Jenner can replicate his success as a center again this season, which isn't a guarantee. And I honestly do think that the fourth line, whether it's Sean Corrali or Justin Danforth, is actually pretty solid no matter what. So I think maybe a little bit more of a realistic lookout for this team is Boone Jenner might actually end up repeating as a top line center, at least to start out with. The second line center might be a bit of a rotating door between Sillinger and Roslovic, just kind of depending on who's performing a little bit better. Third line center might be a bit of a rotating door between Corrali and Sillinger, and then fourth line center, Corrali and Danforth. Again, I think one of those two has that position locked down pretty good. So overall, again, it's kind of the same where the center depth isn't necessarily going to be a strength of this team, I don't think. But this year, it might not be as much of an active detriment as it has been to the team in years past, and you might actually look at this, the group down the middle, and think, you know what, the Blue Jackets aren't as objectively terrible as they have been, especially if Boone Jenner does end up playing top line center again. If him being the captain of the team did this season what it did last season and kind of energize him, and he fits in that role, then maybe it works out again. I don't think it would be the worst thing in the world, at least in theory. Maybe Boone Jenner is he's not able to replicate his success he had last season. But if Boone Jenner plays the way he played last year, him being the top line center wouldn't be the worst thing for this team. And I don't think that Kent Johnson, if he's going to be playing with the NHL club, is going to get the right opportunity he needs to develop his game as a center. I think if he wants to truly do that, the team's going to have to send him to Cleveland. And I think Kent Johnson is going to show in camp that he is definitely one of the 12 best forwards on the team, that he deserves to make the opening night roster. And if he does, but he's pigeonholed in as a center, then maybe he doesn't get the minutes that he probably should if he was playing on the left or right side on that forward line. So thank you all for watching. If you made it this far, please leave a like and a subscribe if you enjoyed this video and like to see more like it. Let me know what you think about the Blue Jackets center position and how they fare up there down the middle in the comments down below. Thank you all again for watching, and I will see you with the next one.